Tonight, find out how new legislation might affect student pocketbooks.
Plus, educators learn about Chinese culture. Stay tuned. TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to TrojanVision Nightly News for July 9th, 2012. I'm Dustin Carroll.
And I am Bailey Majors. Thank you for joining us this evening. Last Friday, President Obama signed a piece of legislation to law that will affect how much money college students with federal loans will have to pay back the government. I spoke with some Troy University students about how these changes will affect them. On Friday, July 6, President Obama signed a bill that he said would make a real difference for millions of Americans.
This bill will keep interest rates on federal student loans from doubling this year, which would have hit nearly 7.5 million students with an average of $1,000 more on their loan payments.
But how much do students depend on student loans for financial aid?
100%. Without financial aid, I wouldn't be here.
The only way I can go to school, I can't really afford to pay for them out of pocket.
I don't actually rely on student aid.
If I didn't get, the amount of loans and grants and scholarships that I did, I would not be able to go to school.
With so many college students dependent on student loans, how does this new bill affect them?
Without that, I would have been paying another $1,000 more a year.
Them not doubling the rates on the loan definitely helps out a lot of students.
Aid is my life. If I didn't have it, it would be really bad.
For those students who rely on financial aid, this would be a great help because any way to save money is good.
Students say the bill will not only be beneficial to themselves, but also their friends.
Most of my friends are 100% on financial aid and student loans. Almost no one is able to work and pay their way through college.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who rely on aid and a lot of family too, and I'm sure this is going to, relieve them a lot because it'll just decrease the amount of money they have to pay back.
All college kids need all the help that they can get.
Because it saves everybody money and people love saving money.
Once again, the law signed on Friday will freeze the interest rate for federal student loans at 3.4% for at least the next year.
Over the next 2 weeks, the Chinese language and culture will take center stage as Troy University educates educators about the Eastern nation. Judson Garner has the story.
StarTalk is a program founded in 2006 by the Bush administration to increase the learning and teaching of world languages in America. Today, Troy University kicked off its Troy StarTalk 2012.
This is an award for the teaching of nationally required languages. Some languages are seldom taught, and we are fortunate to be awarded the program to teach the Chinese language.
This year's Troy StarTalk will be teaching both students and teachers.
For the teachers, some of them are pre-teachers with an intention to become Chinese language teachers in the future. Some of them are teachers already, currently teaching Chinese or some other subjects. And for the students, this year we did not go too wide. We only selected high school students, roughly between the ages of 15 and 18.
The Chinese teachers will be learning how to teach their own language to English-speaking students.
They will be learning theories, and they will also be doing some one-on-one practice with the students. And in second week of the training, they will also be teaching in a short session, maybe 10 or 20 minutes, in the students' classroom.
High schoolers from across the state and some from out of state learned today about creating a website, and throughout their time in the StarTalk program at Troy, they will learn a general introduction to the Chinese language and culture.
They will be introduced to the taste of the Chinese language and culture with the hope that eventually they will be following along, taking Chinese as part of their own, eventually working successfully for this country.
Judson Garner, Troy TrojanVision News.
Star Trek will wrap with graduation ceremony on Saturday, July the 21st.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Montgomery, the attorney for Don Siegelman is asking a federal judge to set aside his ordering denying the former Alabama governor a new trial. Siegelman attorney Peter Sisman filed the request Monday with U.S. District Judge Mark Fuller in Montgomery. The attorney wants the delay so he can have more time to try and get documents about former U.S. Attorney Laura Canary. Siegelman is set for sentencing on August 3rd.
And in Alabaster, the Birmingham News reports that Alabama Crown Distributing Company is building a $16 million facility in the Birmingham bedroom community of Alabaster. It will employ 70 people. It also has been on operation in Birmingham, and some jobs there are being moved to the new site. Alabama Crown is receiving state and local tax breaks worth $1.2 million over 7 years.
And in Tuscumbia, authorities say a pedestrian has been struck and killed by a tour bus in Colbert County. The person was hit on Highway 72 in Tuscumbia around 3 a.m. Monday. WAFF-TV reports that the victim has been identified as 22-year-old Byron Seth Clark, a sailor on leave from the U.S. Navy. The driver of the bus was taken to Helen Keller Hospital for observation but was not seriously injured.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, we'll have the results of the men's and women's finals at Wimbledon when Danielle Percival joins us with sports.
But first, President Obama says he wants to extend tax cuts for the middle class. We'll have that story after the break.
President Obama picks a fight with Republicans over middle-class tax cuts. I'm Danielle Nottingham at the White House. I'll have the story coming up.
Nice. Yes, go! Yes! No! Come on! Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
At the heart of what we do in the College of Business is care for the students.
We feel like the students are our most important assets.
I have never been anywhere where I've known so many students on first-name basis.
What we try to do at Troy University is provide an experience to students that not only provide the curriculum that allows them to be successful in the business world, but we also try to expand their horizons to reach greater opportunities that maybe they didn't think they were capable of before.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we'll go to Dustin Carroll at the Global News Desk. Dustin.
Thank you, Bailey. President Obama is calling for an extension of middle-class cuts as he tries to highlight his differences with Republican presidential hopeful Mitt Romney. Romney wants tax cuts extended for all income earners, and his campaign has labeled the president as a massive tax increase. Danielle Nottingham has more from the White House.
President Obama positioned himself as a middle-class warrior, challenging Congress to immediately renew Bush-era tax cuts only for Americans who make less than $250,000 a year.
Right now, our top priority has to be giving middle-class families and small businesses the security they deserve.
With middle-class taxpayers around him, the president said they could be hit with a $2,200 tax hike next year.
That'd be a big blow to working families, and it would be a drag on the entire economy.
The president will take his push for middle-class tax cuts to Iowa Tuesday. He will try to convince middle-class voters in the battleground state that his Republican challenger Mitt Romney is a protector of the rich. Romney blasted the president's plan, calling it a, quote, massive tax increase.
We just saw a terrible jobs report just last week, and now to add a higher tax on job creators and on small business is about the worst thing I could imagine to do.
Romney and congressional Republicans say the Bush-era tax cuts due to expire at the end of the year should be renewed for everyone. With no compromise in sight, both Republicans and Democrats expect to battle over taxes for the remainder of the 2012 campaign. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, the White House.
A new peace plan is in the works for Syria. Union Special Envoy Kofi Annan met with the Syrian president today. Dick Brandon has a story from New York.
United Nations Special Envoy Kofi Annan sat down with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in Damascus. Annan says they hammered out a plan to stop the bloodshed in Syria.
We discussed the need to end the violence and ways and means of doing so.
Annan says he will also talk with opposition forces. Many of the rebels want Assad to step aside, But the Syrian president says he's staying put.
And we have national challenge now in Syria, so President shouldn't escape the situation.
But the fighting continues. Government troops have been trying to crush an uprising for 16 months now. Rebels claim more than 17,000 people have been killed. Syria finds itself increasingly isolated. Annan's next stop is Iran to meet with leaders from Syria's main ally in the region. And Russia, another Syrian friend, says it won't deliver any new weapons until the situation calms down. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton says time is running out for Assad.
The future, to me, should be abundantly clear to those who support the Assad regime. The days are numbered.
Assad blames the U.S. for Syria's crisis, saying the United States is fueling the uprising. Dick Brennan for CBS News, New York.
Millions of Americans use artificial sweetener to lose weight, but do they work? Teresa Garcia tells us now the American Heart Association is weighing in.
Colby LeMaster starts his day with an iced coffee, a splash of cream, and a couple packets of Splenda.
It'll taste the same, it'll be just as flavorful, and yet a fraction of the calories, so why not do it?
The American Heart Association says substituting artificial sweeteners for sugar added to food and drinks may help people reach a healthy weight and maintain it. It can also help diabetics control their blood sugar.
It can be a way of cutting calories. For every can of diet soda somebody consumes, they save 150 calories.
But the Heart Association acknowledges the jury is still out on whether sweeteners are an effective long-term way to keep calories and sugars in check.
If you're using artificial sweeteners or products that eliminate sugar, experts say that doesn't mean you can eat more.
Somebody thinks, well, I can have that piece of cream pie because I put artificial sweetener in my coffee.
LeMaster says artificial sweeteners have really helped him cut his calories.
Every single day I have sweetener in my coffee, and probably once a week I'm making something or baking something with artificial sweetener.
He's also cut down on carbohydrates and butter, and he's getting more exercise. Lifestyle changes that have helped him drop 114 pounds. Teresa Garcia, CBS News, Los Angeles.